wanted to try something different. I remembered this game, which I've dabbled in, but I wanted to try something completely new, kind of see how it goes. So I wanted to do like an immersive experience, but I don't want it to be too easy, and I don't want it to be too difficult either, because I don't know enough about this game to be confident playing on like Path of the Damned. That's just not going to happen. This I wanted to do though, for funsies. Disables a number of helper features. Okay, I want to know explicitly what that is, because that sounds like something I might want to try. Alright, for starters, that is still too loud. At least in my headset it is. I don't want it gone, I just want it low. Alright, Trial of Iron is yes. I don't want any excuse to do reloads. Okay, game's difficulty setting. Blah, harder difficulties, yep. Placing weakeners with more powerful types or increasing how many are present in encounters. AI won't change based on level of difficulty. And reduce how many camping supplies players will be able to carry at any given time. Unlimited on story, 6 on easy, 4 on normal, 2 on hard. What are camping supplies? See, that's, I don't know. Limiting the amount of outdoor resting they can do. On average, players will probably get a small increase in loot, but it's possible to get less in certain circumstances. Story time. Mode players are more interested in exploration and story development than the challenge of combat. Story time is active, the enemy composition of the battles is the same as normal difficulty, but the game mechanics are biased in the player's favor. Unlimited number of camping supplies. So that's no. Easy difficulty requires minimal micromanagement. Minimal micromanagement easily forgives mistakes in combat. Strongly recommended for those who are new or recently returning to real-time party-based RPGs. Probably a no for easy. Normal requires strategy and efficiency. Hard difficulty is suited for Infinity Engine veterans who are looking for a pop. Come on now. Yeah, I'm not doing Path of the Damned. Kind of a toss-up between hard and normal. Considering I'm doing a single playthrough, a single save, I kind of want to take it a little bit easier on myself and do normal. Mostly for the party supplies, because I'm assuming that's like a short rest kind of situation, like with BG3. And I can bump it up if it's like too easy. So that's fair. I might do that. I might start on normal, and if I decide it's way too easy, I might jump it up. Alright, expert mode. This is what I'm looking for. Enable more punitive and demanding gameplay elements in and out of combat, including disabling all the individual extra options in the section below. Disable the common's use helper information. What's the section below? Okay, no, I don't want that, because there are some things that I do. So, just for funsies here. This is what I have going on. Alright. None of this really matters. I want to know about quest updates when they happen. And the rest of this is kind of unimportant. Difficulty stuff, that I do want. Maim companions before death. I want that on. I want to be able to access the stats, because that's quality of life. I don't think that impacts gameplay. It's more annoying than anything else. It really is. Even in Baldur's Gate, or any games that have inventory caps, it just drives me nuts. I don't want to sit there managing my inventory all day long. I want to be able to play the game. I mean, I believe in weight limits and stuff. That's fine to a point, but give me access to my stash, you know? My biggest gripe with Starfield was the fact that I spent more than half my game just managing my inventory. It just lost its luster very quickly. So I'm not doing expert mode, is my point. I did take off qualifiers, and I took off the ability to see the unqualified interactions. Basically, if I show up somewhere and I can say something to them, I will choose the dialogue most fitting in that moment. I don't want to even think about the fact that, like, oh, I can back out and do some things to make it better. I just want it to be immersive. So that being said, let's go with normal. Let's go with Trial of Iron, but let's go with normal. I think that's fair. Okay, and let's begin. Let's see what happens.
5 wagons
I mean, I'd even enjoyed this.
blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
Alright. I was wondering if I was going to have to wait for all of that. Oh gosh, I didn't even... I said no guides. I'm going to stick to it. Normally I try to be like as min-max as possible with these kind of games, but I'm just going to wing it. Another reason that hard difficulty is probably not a good option. Alright, so... the place of men in society varies from culture to culture. Cultures like a deer and the deerwood. How do I... there we go, tooltips. A colonial nation founded by settlers from the Adir Empire. Following a series of conflicts with Adir, the territory became independent in 2672 AI and is now ruled by a duke, who is elected by 7 earls that oversee its earldoms. Okay, I'm getting used to the controls, bear with me here. Alright, cultures like Adir and the Deerwood place them at the forefront of military politics and heavy labor. Among the tribes of Nasatak, men perform many of the homesteading and organizational duties. In Glanfath, a colonial nation, a territory comprised of the forests southeast of the Bale River, populated indigenously by a group of loosely affiliated tribes collectively known as Glanfathons, and governed by a council of its 6 most powerful tribes. Glanfath is home to a large number of ruined Angwithan sites, which Glanfathons hold sacred. The ruins have been at the center of a number of large-scale conflicts with Deerwooden colonists whose settlements often encroach on Glanfathon territory and who frequently seek to plunder the ruins for their relics. I can already tell I'm going to get super annoyed with the naming conventions in this game, but that's fine. I'll get used to it, maybe. In Glanfath and Ixamiddle, men and women have more fluid social roles. In all societies, there are exceptions to the rule, and men can be found in a wide variety of stations and professions. Is there a change in my stats? A woman's role in Eora is largely dependent on where she is from. In the Adir Empire, Valian republics, a mercantile power and former colony of a larger, more ancient nation, Old Valia. The republics lie to the south of Deerwood and Glanfath, and are ruled by a duke elected by the Consuegli Asagia, a council of 14 dukes, including its 5 most prominent, the Duke's Bells. I am probably not even going to get their character creation tonight. And the Deerwood, women occupy many domestic, educational, organizational roles. They are the primary hunters, soldiers, and leaders of the tribes of the Nasatak. In Glanfath and Ixamiddle, women and men have more fluid social roles. In all societies, there are exceptions to the rule, and women can be found in a wide variety of stations and professions. So, is there a benefit to either one? No. Purely storytelling? That's what it seems like. I'm just going to go with male. Play him kind of like myself, what I would do in these situations. Minus, obviously, the combat prowess, because I have 0. Okay, humans. Commonly called folk are the most common race in the Deerwood, the Aedir Empire, Old Valia, and the Valian Republics. Though not as large as the towering Oumuamua, Oumuamua, humans are known for their strength and willpower. Okay, I don't even know what resolve and might. Okay, that's probably easy to translate though. Resolve reflects a character's internal drive, determination, fearlessness, and the emotional intensity they can project to others. It can be useful for mental intimidation, leadership, and convincing performances. In combat, it helps characters maintain concentration and contributes to the will and deflection defenses. Kind of like charisma, I'm assuming. Might represents a character's physical and spiritual strength, brute force, as well as their ability to channel powerful magic. During interactions, it can be useful for intimidating displays and acts of brute force. In combat, it contributes to both damage and healing, as well as the fortitude defense. Damage and healing surprises me a little bit. So, kind of strength, kind of wisdom. Alright, so they have 1 and 1. The mighty Oumuamua are the largest of the Kith races. Oh, cool. The mighty Oumuamua are the largest of the Kith races and are commonly found in or near oceans. Though not truly aquatic, they have an affinity for water, and many of their civilizations, such as Roatai, are based on naval dominance. They are known for their unparalleled strength. Might. Okay. Dwarf. 1 less dexterity. Dexterity is an abstraction of a character's hand-eye coordination, balance, and overall grace. In interactions, it can be used for sleight of hand and fast reactions. In combat, it affects the character's action speed with all attacks, spells, and abilities, and contributes to the reflex defense. Okay, so rogues use dexterity. That's fair. It's typical. Constitution is a combination of the character's overall health and stamina. Although it is not used much in interactions, it is sometimes checked to withstand pain or endure a physically taxing ordeal. In combat, it affects maximum health and endurance and contributes to the fortitude defense. Okay. So dwarves have high fortitude, low reflex. Got it. By virtue of land covered and number of colonies settled, dwarves are the most well-traveled race in the world. They are commonly found in the Deerwood, the Valian Republics, and almost any colonized land. Dwarves are known for their great strength and tenacity. I'll probably go back to this once I figure out what class I'm going to do, but I'm just going through them right now. Elves are the dominant race in Irglunfath, and the white that wends. The white that wends, and are extremely common in the Deerwood and Aedir. Elves are known for their speed and intelligence, as well as a commonly isolationist nature. I would not expect perception to be a primary skill. Presents characters' senses, as well as their instinctive ability to pick up on details and interactions. It can be used to catch someone in a lie, to make an observant comment about their appearance, or to notice something happening in the background. In combat, it contributes to accuracy, the reflex defense, and grants a bonus to interrupt. So if I want to play a rogue, which is kind of the path that I'm leaning on so far, I want to be an elf. I like lockpicking in games. I feel like it's essential for exploring and stuff, and I don't like waiting to find background character, NPC, not NPC, but buddy, whatever, that has those abilities. Orlans, who look awesome, for the record, are the smallest of the Kith races, though many cultures don't consider them to be civilized at all. Also notable for their large ears, two-toned skin, and hirsute bodies, Orlans are commonly found in Irglunfath, the Ixmiddle Plains, and part of the Deerwood. They are known for their mental intensity and sharp senses. Resolve, which was what again? That was like a kind of like wisdom. Oh, that's gonna take some getting used to. Internal drive. That was like charisma. Okay. Now I said no guides, and I'm gonna stand by that. But that being said, there's been a couple words now that I actually don't know. Hirsute means hairy, shaggy, and bushy. Okay. Also, what is wend? Go in a specified direction. Okay, so the white that wends. I'm curious what the white is. I like them, though. They look cool. Lower strength, which kind of sucks. Right. Brute force. Damage. Alright, so I'm kind of a toss-up right now between these two. I might go to Orlan. We'll see how... it depends on how important might is. Like, if I can lose a little bit of... but then again... Sleight of hand, fast reactions, action speed, very important. But if there's a neutral, maybe I'll be like a slower rogue? What does it do in combat? Contributes to accuracy. So super accurate. Bonus to interrupt. I'm curious what interrupt is now. The godlike. Whoa. That is freaky. The godlike are children of the kith, who have been blessed with physical aspects associated with the gods, though some do not consider it a blessing. These aspects may take many forms and often come with mystical powers. Aberrant head shapes are typical, and godlike are unable to wear protective headgear as it is near impossible to find anything that fits. Interesting. Because of their unusual nature and their inability to reproduce, godlike are often viewed with fear and wonder. So you can't wear hats. No headgear. So interesting. Represents characters' logic and reasoning capabilities, and interactions can be useful for deduction, sudden realizations, and problem solving. In combat, it contributes to the will defense and influences durations and areas of effect for all abilities and talents. So, like, kinda. Oh man, this is a tough one. Alright, I'm not sold on anything quite yet. I'm leaning on Orlan. But we'll see. Oh, there's sub-races too? Jesus Christ. Okay. Oh my god. The most common humans in the Deerwood, the Meadowfolk, or Thurton, have lived in that area for almost 2,000 years. Meadowfolk traditionally live at the edges of elven forests, working in the open plains, hence their name. Most humans in the Deerwood are Thurton. Fighting spirit. Once per encounter, 5 seconds after being reduced below 50% endurance. Is that like health? There's two different things. There's endurance and there's health. Alright. Endurance represents a character's short-term survivability. Damage that is not absorbed by a character's damage reduction goes straight to their endurance and health. Potions and healing magic, such as from a paladin, priest, or druid, can restore endurance in combat. When a character's endurance reaches 0, he or she will be knocked out. A knocked out character can be brought back in combat through the use of a revive ability. Otherwise, characters will regain all of their endurance at the end of combat. Okay. Accuracy part of almost every attack. It influences how likely the attack is to affect the target. Accuracy is defined primarily by the character's class and level, but it is also influenced by perception, talents, and other active effects, such as spells or items. When an attack is made, the accuracy is compared to the appropriate defense on a target determined if the attack roll modified. If accuracy is above the target's defense, it will be more likely to result in a hit or crit, less likely to result in a graze or miss. Any ability or talent that does not use a weapon as part of the attack against a small gains. Any ability or talent that does not use a weapon as part of the attack gains a small accuracy bonus based on the level of the character. There are 8 damage types in Pillars of Eternity: Slash, Pierce, Crush, Burn, Shock, Corrode, Freeze, and Raw. Damage types are used to determine how easily a target resists damage to that type based on their damage reductions. A character or suit of armor may be very resistant to one type of damage, but quite vulnerable to another. Some weapons or attacks may do multiple damage types or list an or between their damage types. When an or is listed, the attack will always do the damage type that the target is most vulnerable to. Fair. Raw damage is the only damage type that ignores all damage reductions and is generally associated with poisons and similar effects. Still leaning on rogue, especially from that note right there. Ocean folk, Calabandra, originated near the equator on the other side of the globe and are currently the most widespread human group in that region, but they have also migrated to the far reaches of the world. Ocean folk are a dominant culture in the Vailian republics and are also common in the Deerwood. Do all of these get the same ability? Seems that way. Does the Vanna folk come, maybe like the subrace is just based on, what's it called? Like role-playing purposes? Like different dialogue options and stuff? The Vanna folk, the Natlan, come originally from just south of the equator, and with the exception of some groups that migrated north, have remained in the same location for over 10,000 years. Holy crap. The name Natlan literally means original. While quite common in Red Ceres, Drywood's neighbor to the north, Red Ceres is a nation firmly rooted in its Eothasian faith, a fervor that took hold during the events of the Saints' War and remains even after the apparent death of Eothas. Who's Eothas? Vanna folk are not usually seen in the Deerwood and the Vailian Republics. Okay. As warlike race, the coastal... Alright. The coastal Oumuamua live in a mainland region along the coast of the northern hemisphere, lands they conquered by pushing Thurtan, Metal folk, Natlans, Vanna folk, and Orlan communities out. Their culture is more centralized and urban than their island cousins, though both groups are involved in seafaring. Coastal Oumuamua are very rare in the Deerwood, but those that do make the journey usually do so as mercenaries, bodyguards, or soldiers. Coastal Oumuamua gain bonus to defend against prone and stun. That's helpful. Island Oumuamua originated in the Deadfire Archipelago, which is the second game, 1,000 miles south of the Vailian Republics. While physiologically similar to their coastal cousins, the coloration of Island Oumuamua is starkly different. Brown and yellow, contrasting the coastal's blue and green. Though still uncommon in the Deerwood and surrounding environments, Island Oumuamua are more commonly encountered there than coastal Oumuamua, who are quite rare. When encountered around the Deerwood, they are often laborers, fishermen, or sailors. Armed to the teeth, all Island Oumuamua gain an additional weapon set. I don't know how important that is. Ooh, no. Alright. Dwarves. What do we got? Mountain. Aptapo. Originated on the continent to the east of the Deerwood and have spread through the area several times, unlike the similarly diminutive Orlans, who are frequently subjugated. The Aptapo have always directly fought back threats opposed by larger kith and opted to fortify their residences rather than move on. Mountain dwarves are common in the Vailian Republics, but not seen as often in the Deerwood and Red Ceres. Hale and hardy mountain dwarves have a bonus to defend against poison and disease, which makes sense. Well, based on most lords. Most boreal dwarves, Anutanic, live in the remote southern island of Nasatak, where they share rocky tundra and snow-covered forests with migratory pale elves and the coast-hugging ships of Oumuamua. Like their northern cousins, Anutanic share an instinctive love of exploration. Boreal dwarves are somewhat common in the Vailian Republics, but seldom encountered in the Deerwood. Hunter's instincts. Boreal dwarves gain plus 15 accuracy. That seems like a lot against any creature of the wilder or primordial types. Alright, but I'm leaning on Elf or Orlan, probably. These three seem like the ones that I'm leaning on. Which means I get Wood Elf, Skelter Folk, trace their beginnings far north of present-day Adir, and have migrated south through the forests of the continent, now covering it all the way south across the equator. They are also believed to have migrated across the sea to Ir-Glan-Fath. While physiologically identical to one another, Wood Elves from Adir are culturally different from those in Ir-Glan-Fath, and consider themselves wholly different groups. I'm just going to start saying Ir-Glan, because I don't know. Ir-Glan-Fath just like throws me off. Distant advantage. Against any enemy that is more than 4 meters away, Wood Elves gain bonuses to accuracy, deflection, and reflex. Defense uses direct melee and ranged attacks against the character that are not area of effect. It is defined by the character's class, level, and resolve, but may also be influenced by shields, certain weapons, talents, and other effects from spells or items. Reflex defense allows characters to dodge out of the way of physically harmful AoE attacks. It is defined by a character's class, level, dexterity. Alright, so this is what's really going to help me choose between these as well. That's awesome. Distant advantage sounds really good. Pale Elf. They're blue! It is unclear exactly how long ago the Pale Elves, Glam Felon, came to the southern polar regions of the world, but they have lived there for at least 12,000 years based on their continuous contact with Oumuamua traders. They appear to be among the most stationary ethnic groups in the known world, migrating within the polar region but seldom adventuring far north. They are rare in all northern lands, and most people consider them exotic, if they have seen one at all. Elemental Endurance. Increased burn and freeze damage reductions. Alright, so of these, Wood Elf wins. Wood Elf wins. The accuracy is really what gets me, but the bonuses to other defenses is helpful too. Alright, Orlan. Wild Orlans are the original Orlans who lived in the deepest forests and jungles between the tropics. While they have only been significantly separated from Hearth Orlans for 1,000 years, a few genetic differences have appeared rapidly, most notably a lack of facial hair in the Hearth Orlan branch. Wild Orlans are common in the deep reaches of Irglan. Unlike their Hearth Orlan brethren, they are not often seen in the Deerwood, Red Ceres, or the Valen Republics. Defiant Resolve. After being subjected to a will attack, will defense opposes attacks that are mentally based. Spell that mentally paralyzes the target if it is defined by a character's claim. Yeah, flip other. Okay. Wild Orlans temporarily gain a bonus to all defenses. 4 defenses, Pillars of Eternity, Deflection, Fortitude, Reflex, and Will. Each defense is used to resist a different category of attacks through the attack rule. Deflection is used to resist most direct damage, most direct weapon attacks, or attacks that are similar to weapons. Fortitude opposes physical attempts to overpower a character or attack their body internally. Via poison and physical area effect attacks like fireballs and lightning bolts are resisted by reflex. Almost all mental attacks are opposed by will. All of them are based on pairs of attributes. Might and Constitution define Fortitude, Dexterity and Perception define Reflex, and Intellect and Resolve define Will. Base Deflection is defined by the character's class and Resolve. All characters gain flat bonuses to their defenses every level. Additionally, spells, abilities, afflictions, and items can all modify a character's defenses. Okay. So that's not bad, honestly. The problem is that it only benefits after being subjected to a will attack. So I'm leaning towards Wood Elf. Hearth Orlan are often found as slaves in Red Ceres and the Valen Republics. One of the treaty terms between the Deerwood and the people of Irglan was the liberation of Orlan slaves, and while this has been honored, many Hearth Orlans continue to live in the Deerwood as indentured servants. Minor threat. When attacking any target that is also being targeted by a teammate, Hearth Orlans convert some of their hits into crits. I like that a lot. A hit is any attack roll that is between 51 and 100. When an attack scores a hit, it does standard damage and has a standard duration. A crit is any attack roll that is above 100. A crit that does damage increases the total damage done by 50%. Wow. A crit and effects with a duration, typically afflictions like sickened or paralyzed, will increase the duration by 50%. It would be a tough choice between Hearth Orlan right now and Wood Elf. I think it depends on what the bonus to accuracy is, as well as their deflection. So they'll be able to dodge. They'll have better chance to hit and better reflexes. Like better defense. Only against enemies that are further away. So I'm thinking if I'm playing a roguelike... Ooh, no. If I can play a roguelike character as an Orlan... They both have high perception. They'll be faster. They kind of make up for accuracy by having a bonus to perception. Like if I can have like a tank basically stand in front of him and they move together, they attack together, tank draws the enemy and then the other guy does all the work, like the damage, the Orlan does all the damage, I feel like that would be a pretty good combo. Not a huge fan of the way he looks, but I don't mind it either. That's a tough one. Alright, godlike. Oh, Jesus. Alright. Death are the most distrusted of their kind. Strange growths cover their eyes, or in some cases entire face, giving them a sinister appearance. Their growths are transparent for the godlike, but opaque from the outside, hiding their features. Death godlike are commonly killed at birth because many cultures consider them to be harbingers of doom. When death godlike attack an enemy with 25% or less endurance, their damage is increased. Okay. Helpful, not amazing. I hate the fact that they can't wear headgear. Bodies of fire godlike often resemble hot metal, burnt wood, or stone, with harmless flames that erupt from the cracks in their skin. Fire godlike are objects of both reverence and fear in the Deadfire archipelago. Many locals believe they have the power to awaken volcanoes, or that killing one will cause a volcano to awaken. In the Deerwood, fire godlike are often seen as a sign of the blessing of Magrin, goddess of war and fire. Battleforged. When reduced below 50% endurance, fire godlike glow like a metal in the forge, gaining damage reduction and doing a small amount of fire damage to any creature who hits them in melee. Useless. Moon godlike. Whoa, that's cool. Moon godlike are the most tolerated of the godlike. While their skin tone and a large moon-like growth on their foreheads may be strange to some, their appearances are generally considered more palatable by the other kith. Sailors have many beliefs about moon godlike and their propensity to bring luck, though there is little agreement as to what kind of luck they tend to bring. Every encounter, when reduced below 75, 50, and 25% endurance, moon godlike generate waves of healing moonlight that restore endurance to them and all their allies. Super helpful, but not what I'm going for. Nature godlike appear to be... I like the way he looks too. He's wicked fucking cool. Holy shit. He's the coolest looking character. Nature godlike appear to be a fusion of human and animal features, often covered by plants, moss, or fungi. This has led to the common stigma that they are diseased, and many are killed at birth because of it. Many druidic orders have a keen interest in nature godlike because of their general curiosity as to how souls occupy animals, plants, and stones. Wellspring of Life grants a bonus to might, constitution, and dexterity when endurance is below 50%. Honestly, I would, ugh. Nah, I hate the fact that they can't wear headgear. It is a toss-up between the Hearth Orlan, which is who I'm strongly considering for high damage, or the Wood Elf. Alright, so the question is, do I want to use bows? Like, they're basically limited to bows. Whereas I feel like the Orlan can use, because also being targeted by a teammate, so they can stand back and use their bows. And that's probably the way that I'm leaning right now. Okay. Rogue. Alright, just to read through them. Brutes, Madmen, Berserkers. He looks freaking awesome too. Those city-dwelling people often use the term barbarian with a dose of disrespect. These rural warriors are respected by their communities for their ferocity and fearsome presence on the battlefield. Barbarians have a special, almost religious role in some cultures, but in many places, the undisciplined, fearless style of the barbarian is simply how warriors conduct themselves. When barbarians hit with a melee attack, they automatically make reduced damaged attacks at all other enemies within a short distance of the target. Fantastic. That is incredible. I can't wait to have one of them on my team. Like a nature godlike fucking barbarian would be incredible. Oh, man, I'm already torn. Alright. Adventuring is tiring work. In addition to the hazards of mortal combat, adventurers have walls to climb, rivers to cross, and pits to leap over. Once per encounter, characters with athletics can use the second wind ability to recover lost endurance. A higher athletic score increases the effects of second wind. In conversations and scripted interactions, athletics is used for physical feats like climbing, swimming, and jumping. Survival allows characters to choose from a variety of long-term bonuses each time they camp. First 6 ranks grant the following bonuses: damage reduction, received healing multiplier, bonus movement, accuracy bonus versus creature type, increased consumable duration, bonus damage versus flanked enemies. After the 6th rank, the previously earned bonuses become more powerful in the same order they were received. Survival can also be used in conversations and scripted interactions that involve wilderness challenges or specialized information about nature. Oh my god, I almost want to play a barbarian. I hope I get a nature godlike barbarian on my team. I might even play a nature godlike barbarian, because that sounds fucking cool. How good is headgear in this game? I'm sure I'll come across a rogue eventually. Ugh. Tough call, man. Very high, very high, very high, and average deflection. Oh, man. That's a tough call now. Chanter. He has 2 weapons, too. That's cool. In every culture across Yora, there are chanters. Many historians consider chanters to be the most ancient workers of magic. They're hallowed phrases stirring the collective memory of wayward souls around them, compelling them to generate magical effects in a kind of reenactment. In some societies, chanters form organized groups of storytellers and researchers, but in most parts of the world, they are just a time-honored part of local folk traditions. All chanters continuously speak chants made up of magical phrases. Phrases produce passive effects and help build a chanter's power until they can use an invocation. Powerful magical effects that chanters can create after they have spoken a required number of phrases through their chants. That just seems complicated. High, low, very high, very high. Characters accumulated miscellaneous knowledge and trivia, often of occult or esoteric topics. Outside of conversations and scripted interactions, lore is used to activate scrolls. Higher lore values allow the character to use higher level scrolls. Traps and locks can be a problem for even the toughest adventurers, draining their resources and maiming or killing those who are unfortunate enough to trigger an unseen floor plate. The mechanic skill makes it easier to open locks and find and disable traps. Additionally, any character can use the mechanic skill to place traps of their own. The higher the mechanic skill, the more accurate the trap. In conversations and scripted interactions, mechanics can be used to activate or disable a variety of machines. Okay? What's a cipher? I'm getting kind of like a bard. Almost. Alright, a recent discovery in the Eastern Reach, ciphers were once called Brishalgwyn, or Mind Hunters, by the Glanful Fathans. Ciphers have the ability to directly contact and manipulate another person's soul and psyche. Holy shit. using an ally's or enemy's essence as the focus for their magic. Though most ciphers are still found in the Eastern Reach, practitioners of the techniques have spread throughout the known world. They are gaining acceptance over time, but are generally distrusted, especially by the uneducated. Directly target allies and enemies with powerful soul-focused effects. These powerful powers cost focus, which ciphers build through the use of their soul whip. Huh. I'm assuming stealth is... Oops. Stealth is stealth. Yeah. Animists at heart, druids tap into the spiritual power that flows through the simple living things of Eora, plants, animals, and sometimes even living stone. While not necessarily religious, druids do have a reverence for the natural world and a keen interest in understanding its mysteries. In most cultures, druids are understood as a sort of primal magician, but among the Glanflans and the Sataki and many rural cultures, they may have high positions of influence and authority. All druids have mastered one animalistic form. These forms give the druid strong melee abilities and grant an additional power while the druid is shifted. Druids have access to a variety of offensive and some support-oriented spells. Every 2 levels, druids automatically gain access to an additional set of spells. Initially, their spells can be cast a limited number of times per rest. As druids gain power, their weaker spells eventually shift per encounter use. Nah. Not even something I'm considering. Fighters form the front line of disciplined armies across the Eastern Reach. They're the most commonly found in cultures with an organized martial structure. Fighters can also be encountered as wandering mercenaries, bodyguards, and other types of sellswords. The common element that unifies fighters is their heavy focus on endurance and melee defense. Fighters continuously regenerate endurance at a modest rate during combat. That's cool. Ooh, alright. I mean... I'd still probably go Barbarian over Fighter, but Fighters do seem pretty good. And melee defense. Monks belong to a variety of fighting orders that have sprung up in Ixamatl and the Eastern Reach over the past few centuries. While many monastic orders can trace their teachings to the enduring founder, Tletak, individual organizations vary greatly in their focus, morality, and ethics. Common folk respect the incredible discipline of monks, but see them as an odd, unpredictable bunch who may not be entirely sane. Even mercenaries and other adventurers aren't sure what to make of them. When monks have no weapons equipped, their unarmed attacks are exceptionally powerful and continue to increase damage as they gain levels. Wounds. As monks are damaged, their pain generates wounds. Wounds can be used to power many of the monk's special abilities. Okay. Wow. Monks are typically like such an underrated class, so I feel like roleplay-wise, not going to be my choice. But Barbarian, though. Paladins are martial zealots, devoted to a god, a ruler, or even a way of life. They can be found in any culture where a fanatical group of like-minded individuals have formed a warrior society dedicated to advancing their cause. Among those aligned to their worldview, paladins are viewed with respect and admiration, if a bit of fear. Many paladins hold leadership positions in armies and mercenary companies, but in the heat of battle, their fanaticism often overrules the chain of command and common sense. Inherent bonus to all their defenses. Over the course of the game, the value of this bonus may shift based on reputations. The paladin gains relative to the behaviors that are preferred by his or her order. Interesting. I'm going to say no to that then. I feel like that's a guided class. Priests are devotees of Eora's deities and practitioners of religious magic. While all priests dedicate themselves to specific gods, priest power is actually derived from their personal beliefs. In contrast to most paladins, priests tend to focus on philosophy, teaching, and the relationship of religious organizations within common folk. The reception of priests in any given part of the world depends largely on how their god is revered or reviled by the people who live there. Generates a modest amount of endurance for allies around the priest. Any enemy vessels caught in the area take burn damage and may be frightened. Over the course of the game, the power of this ability may shift based on the reputations the priest gains relative to the behaviors that are preferred by his or her deity. Priests have access to a variety of support and some offense-oriented spells. Every 2 levels, priests automatically gain access to an additional set of spells. Initially, their spells can be cast a limited number of times per rest. As priests gain power, their weaker spells eventually shift to per encounter use. Rangers are warriors of the woodlands and masters of the hunt, always partnered with soul-bonded animal companions. Cool. They can be found in wild spaces all over the world. As their lifestyles often tend toward independence and isolation, it is rare for rangers to become an integral part of a large fighting force, though they are often employed as scouts and guides. All rangers share a strong bond with an animal companion. The companion fights the ranger's command and is extremely valuable for its ability to run interference. Animal companions don't do much damage, but they have high damage reduction. The link between the ranger and the companion is powerful. If one goes down in battle, the other suffers as well. I am not opposed to being a ranger. The fact that they get an animal companion makes me happy, because that's just an extra person. And in these types of games, the more people that you have on the field, the better. Period. Always. Rogues are vicious killers, feared for the brutality of their attacks. They can be found as often in dark back alleys as the heart of battlefield skirmishes. Though unpredictable and undisciplined, rogues are commonly used as shock troops, or as part of a surprise assault. Their withering attacks breaking enemy ranks and morale. Rogues tend to congregate in larger numbers in cities where they can be steadily employed as mercenaries or hired muscle. Applies bonus damage to the rogues' range and melee attacks when the target has any of the following afflictions. It also applies to any target the rogue strikes with the weapon within the first 2 seconds of combat. Man. Tough choice. It could honestly be a toss-up at this point between those 3. Masters of academic magic, wizards are students of arcane traditions that stretch back beyond the boundaries of our court history. Wizards are a highly organized group, often forming academies or guilds devoted to research and development. Magical studies and tend to favor environments where inquiry, experimentation, debate, and the dissemination of knowledge are encouraged. Many accomplished wizards eventually become known for their eccentricity, their egos, and their unquenchable interest in all things arcane and occult. Range attack that hits a small area for raw damage. If target's dazed. Wizards have access to a variety of offensive and personal defense spells. Unlike priests and druids, wizards learn individual spells that they store in and cast directly from their grimoires. Grimoires can only hold 4 spells of each level, which motivates wizards to keep multiple grimoires for different needs. Every 2 levels, wizards gain access to an additional set of spells. However, they can automatically learn 1 spell of any level they can access each time they advance. Wizards also have the option of learning spells from grimoires they find or buy. Initially, their spells can be cast a limited number of times per rest. As wizards gain power, their weaker spells eventually shift to per encounter use. So that's not me. Gosh dang. I think I want a ranger on my team, and I definitely want a barbarian on my team. But as a barbarian, oh man, it's a tough choice. How often are they going to be congregated like that? I'm going to go rogue. Yep, I'm going to go rogue. And hopefully eventually I come across a barbarian, a wizard, and a ranger. Hi, handsome boy. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, I got to pick one of these. So Blinding Strike is the much better attack, but you can only use it once per encounter. So it's like use it against the big bad. Yeah, I'll go with Blinding. Definitely bumping that up to at least 1. Highly recommended for Rogue. Spells or attacks interrupted during combat. Every point of resolve increases a character's concentration and is opposed by the attack's interrupt rating. Cool. So a little bit, I just kind of want to drop that down. Like, it doesn't really change much if you can just mess around with it anyways, right? Ah, there it is. No, because... Yep, so my maximum gets higher as well. But yeah, I kind of want to drop that down 1. Because he doesn't need concentration. Just doesn't. In fact, I almost want to really drop that down. I won't though for the defensive bonuses. We'll see. Huh. Alright. Might represents a character's physical and spiritual strength. Where's Fortitude again? Okay. Grants a bonus to interrupt. I almost want to just jump that to 20. Gives them a very high chance of interrupting. Accuracy doesn't go up as much as I would have liked it to, but... Duration? Oh, of like their major, of their, yeah. Hmm. Tough one, man. Alright, yeah, let's look at these first, because these are going to change things as well. Adir Empire is currently the largest, most powerful force in this part of the world. It is centered around the equator and has a tropical climate. The empire has colonies in numerous areas of the world. Greater Adir is at its heart and houses the majority of its human and elven nations. Consisting of the nation of Nasatak, dozens of Amua settlements, and hundreds of lawless pirate-infested islands that stretch along the southern sea. Deadfire is home to boreal dwarves, Amua, and a mixed variety of other races. Deadfire Archipelago is the last stop for anyone headed east. A multitude of monstrous sea creatures infest the ocean beyond, making travel virtually impossible. Located to the northeast of Glanfath, the Ex-Metal Plains are a large expanse of fertile savannas that are extensively farmed by human Orlan residents. The Ixmetal culture is one of the oldest in the world, though one of the least imperialistic, having spread out little over the past several thousand years. Once the crown jewel of the southern seas, Old Valia is now the crumbled remains of an empire of warring merchant nations. Counting many humans and dwarves among their ranks, the Old Valian countries are still forces to be reckoned with and are proud of their rich cultural heritage. Alright, I should choose this based on, further changes. A large, cracked southern expanse of polar ice, the white that wends is home to pale elves and small colonies of daring explorers, outcasts, and adventurers. While virtually no plant life grows in the white, it is home to many hardy species of dangerous animals that forage from sea or prey upon each other to survive. This is more of an RP choice. The Living Lands is the mountainous region of a large northern island renowned for its diversity of plant and animal life. Its weather is unpredictable and its ecosystems vary dramatically from valley to valley. The Living Lands are home to an assortment of races and a variety of colonial and independent settlements. Rotui, dominated by the Oamua nation of Rawatai. The Gulf itself is host to a number of nations, most of them Awamua, Orlan, and Dwarven. Though these countries are relatively young, they are some of the most advanced colonial settlements in the east. The Gulf is a land of riches and resources for those who can take them. The entire coast is pummeled by violent storms. Once the crown jewel of the southern seas, Old Valia is now crumbled remnants of the empire of warring merchant nations. Counting many humans and dwarves among their ranks, the Old Valian countries are still forces to be reckoned with and are proud of their cultural heritage. I think I'm going to go with Deadfire. You've lived your life amongst the nobility. Your days have been marked by lavish meals and extravagant parties. Your conversations pepper with talk of pedigree and bloodlust. No, that's not me. You found the siren call of their eyes and irresistible. You cannot help but wonder what lies beyond the next hill or wave, and you've built your life around finding out. So far, that probably is me. Laborer. Life has been spent in the study of your craft. You trained and prepared, hoping to hone your skills and ply your trade. That ain't me. You've traded goods from all over the world, pairing items with buyers of all kinds. One of these two is me. Leaning on merchant. You have never known freedom. Shackles and chains have bound your existence, and someone has told you what to do your entire life. That ain't me. You never quite fit in no matter where you go. Each new town is just a place to rest briefly before moving on to the next. You are more comfortable on the road, traveling the world. That ain't me. I mean, maybe, but not as much as these two. You live for the thrill of the chase, whether for glory or for sustenance. You have made your living taking the lives of wild creatures. No. Blade and battle is your way of life. You solve your problems by pulling out your weapon and applying force. That ain't me. You spent your life on the wrong side of the law. What you want, you take, and what was theirs has a tendency to become yours. It's a toss-up between these two, I think. My TV keeps getting darker. At this point, it's getting very hard to read anything. Traded goods from all over the world. All kinds. Oh man, it's really a tough one between these two. I'm gonna go with merchant. Alright. So that leaves me with why is that? What? Are we good there? Thank you. That was weird. Alright. I think I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Hell, if anything, that might even be a little bit lower. Ballsy, but the annoying thing is it puts me at 8 fortitude. I'm thinking that's what I want to do here. Action speed is huge. I'm sorry, it is. That put me at 6 fortitude. Concentration I don't give a shit about. Deflection I do though. That's the only thing that impacts my deflection, and I feel like it's probably important to have. Not if I'm not being targeted, though. If I have someone else taking the brunt of the attacks. Tough one. Screw it. This is what I'm doing. Not overthinking it. Yeah? Alright, cool. I wish I could zoom in. Go with the blue eyes. Time is it? 1:30? Is that thing? Not a huge fan of that portrait. Doesn't really fit the character, but given the limited options, might have to just suck it up and deal with it.
Yes.
Watch and learn.
Show him how it's done!
Jesus, that's loud.
Hey there.
I'm flattered.
Yeah!
Yes? Quietly now.
I've got this.
Death to our enemies!
Easy now.
Yes?
Watch and learn.
Easy does it.
I'll teach you a lesson!
Keeping an eye out. What is it? Now I am the leader of the group.
Shh. I'm here.
Ah!
Not a sound.
Huh? Follow me.
Let's go!
Keeping quiet. Steady does it.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Time to see and not be seen.
Ready when you are.
I'll lead the way.
Ha!
Yes?
Leading the way. Onward! Sharp eyes and keen ears. I shall lead us.
A blade in the dark. Nice and slow.
All right, we'll go with that one.